Hello, my name is Daryl Goodman with Achieve It Solutions. I'm a director here, and today's presentation is going to be on why wholesale distributors need to compete in the digital economy. Thank you all for attending. We'll start with a little bit about Achieve It Solutions, just quickly. We are an SAP Business One Gold Level partner, headquartered in Port Jefferson, New York, and we also have an Asia headquarters in New Delhi, India. We've been in business about 26 years, focusing exclusively on wholesale distribution and light manufacturing for the entire time that we've been in business. We have about 80 employees throughout the world, and we're one of the most experienced SAP Business One partners. And I bring this up because it helps just give some of the expertise that we have. The presentation is not going to all be about Business One, but I do want you to know what our services do. We are providing Business One solutions, as well as being able to be the author and provider of the Resolv suite, which is a distribution add-on for SAP Business One as well. So today's topics, we'll start by first defining what is the digital economy. We'll go into the key components that make up the digital economy. Then we'll talk about why you must become a digital distributor. And then finally, we'll talk about how to support digital business with SAP Business One as a tool. Let's start with what is the digital economy. So as you can see on the slide, the digital economy is a worldwide network of economic activities enabled by information and communication technologies, defined more simply as an economy based on digital technologies, and that was a quote going all the way back to 1995 from Don Tapscott. So as you look, there are going to be several key components to the digital economy, and it's going to include the technology infrastructure itself, such as the hardware, the software, and of course the networks. And then also it's going to include the business processes, which now become digitalized. So in other words, we're going to take components that you've already been doing and enable them by digital tools. This is a key component in being able to establish yourself in the digital economy. Examples are e-commerce has been around for a long time, but as we go through, you'll see some of the other components coming up in a moment that there is a lot of different facets to being a digital distributor. You should note that the digital economy is now also known sometimes as the internet economy or the new economy, but it's different from digital economy and information economy, network economy that was discussed several years back, in that an information economy or a network economy was just based on being able to be a services type company or an information-based company, whereas a digital company is going to be able to work for distributors by taking your knowledge as a distributor of your products, of your services, of your value, and being able to drive it forward using digital tools. So let's look at the key components of the digital economy. First, we have the cloud. Now, one of the great features of the cloud is that it's going to enable you to take advantage of services, whether it be putting your own platforms in the cloud, such as running your servers on an Amazon Web Services or SAP's cloud, or just being able to use cloud functionality software that is provided by people, software as a service that can be specific to your solutions, or even the idea of even looking at like a carrier integration, you're getting your UPS and FedEx tracking information now all available over web services as sort of an extension of cloud. So cloud is a great thing in that you're able to get your software up and running or your service that you need up and running relatively quickly, usually with less expense and with less maintenance over servers and hardware and those things that may not be part of your core business strategy. But cloud can also be a private cloud. So we're talking about public clouds, but you can have private clouds where you give your users access to all of the functionality in a rich and internet and everywhere available platform, even though you privately control the data, and that's what a private cloud is. And often you'll have a hybrid where you can have some parts of your business running on an on-premise traditional server that you control, and some of it running on cloud and being able to use cloud services. Now, with respect to supercomputing, again, it's not necessarily expected that you will have your own supercomputers in the sense that, supercomputing is going to give you the ability to take advantage of the functionality that's out there now from some of the large providers where they're able to do, analytics and be able to provide insights and information to you as a service that really is taking advantage of some of the large-scale and high-end computing platforms. Also, some of the underlying technologies that's now available that used to be supercomputing is available right in some of the database platforms. So, for example, you have the ability to do predictive text and other kinds of analysis of when we get to social media of tweets and other kinds of things right in your platform. Now, connectivity is not talking just about network connectivity. This is actually talking more about how you, as a distributor, fit into the bigger ecosystem with respect to your suppliers and your customers, even your competitors and just your regular users. So in this case, the connectivity is talking about being able to use primarily digital tools, but even just some old-fashioned face-to-face contact to ensure that you are maintaining that relationship so that you know who you know who you don't know, and you're able to make sure that you are using the tools to track and identify the activities that you perform both in a digital format, such as your website, online meetings, your marketing platform and the like, but also being able to ensure that you have the appropriate use of your resources, your salespeople, your marketing people, even your warehouse people and purchasing people to make sure that they are performing their functions in a way that is best use of their time and is able to organize their activities in a way to know what's going on. The mobile platform also is really important now in that mobile is no longer just a tool that you give to a salesperson to be able to take orders remotely. The mobile platforms really have evolved now to make sure that every one of your users is able to have the information right at their fingertips. And it's also meant to be a platform for you to be able to share your digital tools and your expertise with your customers. In this way, mobile doesn't necessarily have to be a mobile application. It could be your website that's designed to scale down to display appropriately on a tablet or a phone-sized device. But what it gives you the ability to do is to ensure that you always have the right answer so you can plan ahead prior to your meetings and walk in knowing what's happening with the orders, with any service tickets that they have, being able to get insight into, inventory levels that they might have. But those are the things that you can prepare for. By having the mobile, when you get into that meeting and you're with somebody face-to-face, you're able to respond more naturally to their inquiries. Instead of having to say, I'll get back to you on it, you're able to use your tools like your website, like your vendors' websites, to be able to get information such as videos, specification sheets, pictures, even your inventory availability and pricing. You'll be able to do all of that on the mobile, and you can turn that mobile device and provide it to your customer in real time and give them access to the information they need. Following the chart here, e-commerce. Now, e-commerce has been a hot topic now for probably 20 years at this point. And so, you may feel that you're already in e-commerce, but e-commerce has evolved to mean more than just being able to have a shopping cart functionality and provide people the ability to do orders. Your e-commerce presence is basically now one of the key areas where people are looking for you to drive value as a distributor, to be able to add to your product, to be able to help them identify which products they need, to filter out which ones they don't, to find better and cheaper alternatives, to make sure that they have access and insight to their order statuses, even to inventory levels, to be able to do forecasting. So your e-commerce can now be extended to include yourself as a digital touch point, the way that you'd have your salespeople traditionally working as an outside sales rep. And similarly, omnichannel is now becoming a newer buzzword of the industry. And what the omnichannel means is that you are going to be available everywhere that your customers are looking. So you may look at yourself and say, okay, you've got your e-commerce site, but if people don't go to your website or don't find you as one of the top hits on Google, they're going to find the products that they're looking for with other suppliers or not be able to find you. And you want to make sure that you're always the first person that people reach out to, whether or not they remember you and connect to you directly based on customer loyalty or existing relationships as a distributor. But now increasingly, and we'll get into this a little bit later, increasingly B2B businesses, your wholesale distributors that are dealing with other businesses, are starting to have to act like B2C businesses, because your small businesses, your smaller accounts, and even some of your people in your larger accounts are now starting to act and behave like consumers. So therefore, we want to make sure we're there when they look, and that includes possibly getting your stuff listed on other platforms such as listing on an Amazon or an eBay or something along those lines, in addition to your traditional sales channels that might be going and having your calls, your customer calls that you go on to, or having your e-commerce site. So omnichannel can make it so that you are able to participate right up against other competitors that might otherwise be perceived as threats, but now give you the opportunity to sell into those channels. CRM is another tool that has been around for a while, but is only just recently starting to be, fully embraced by many of the wholesale distributors. And CRM stands for Customer Relationship Management. It's a tool that's designed to ensure that you have information about your customers, that you're tracking your sales activities, of course. But properly used, it's no longer going to be just an administrative task for your salespeople to use to record what they've done. It will be a tool that will help promote and organize your sales activities in a way that you'll be proactive. So your salespeople will know to whom they're supposed to call, what the important topics are, and it will pass that data throughout the organization as well so that you don't have a drop-off between the handoff from your salespeople to the customer service people, your order processing people, your fulfillment people, and so on. So by incorporating CRM as a key component of your digital tools platform, you'll make sure that you are servicing your core customers who are the people that you need to defend and you hold on to, as well as being able to identify your high opportunity customers, the people who if you give some more attention to or guide, you can actually drive more business and drive growth and extra profitability for your company. And also just make sure that you are able to identify who is who so you respond appropriately with the right format to the right customers. Social media, of course, is, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and probably a few other locations as well. And this is an area where you need to be both active and also follower of what's happening. So you want to be able to follow and keep tabs on your competitors so that you know what your competitors are doing and the promotions that they're putting out, the product knowledge that they're putting out, the niches that they're entering into. Similarly, you want to follow your suppliers to be able to keep abreast of any of their announcements so you don't get surprised by any calls that come in because one of your customers is excited about something that one of your manufacturers or suppliers just tweeted and you don't know what's going on. That doesn't look well for you, so you want to make sure that that information is always available. And so there are tools that are available to help you monitor your social media. In addition, you want to make sure that you're also visible on social media. So you can use social media to enhance and create your value. Innately, as wholesale distributors, you do more than just move packages. You've built some industry expertise. You can help people understand the applications for your products and be able to help them install and to use better. And you can take that and you can make that via social media part of your presence in a way that's not necessarily always just selling, but gives you the opportunity to participate in forums and threads, to answer community questions, and also just to make sure that you have a presence again so that when your users are searching, if they don't go to Google but instead go to LinkedIn or go to some other place to search, you'll come up as a reputable source for your products and goods. All of this will feed into an ERP system. In our case, we're going to be using SAP Business One as an example, but the ERP is, of course, going to handle all of your back-end functions, so the order processing, the accounting, all the functions that ERP has traditionally done. But when used properly as part of it, as a digital tool, as part of working in the platform to work in the digital economy, the ERP system is both a recipient and a provider of data. So you want to make sure that all the information from your CRM, from the mobile, all of that data is going to be populated into your ERP system so that it's always complete and accurate. But the ERP system can act as a central repository to also be able to feed and pass information out to each of those platforms so that it can be proactive. More importantly, because it's going to be an area that is storing all the data, we're going to want to ensure that you have the ability to query that data and get the access to the data. And so part of that's analytics, but part of it is just making sure that you are always going to be keeping all of your data in a consistent and organized manner. The smarter world is another term that basically has to do with the Internet of Things, or IoT. It's a new buzzword, and you may be dismissing it as saying, oh, that's something of the future, and we all kind of laugh at the Wi-Fi connected refrigerator that tells us when we're running low on eggs. But the reality is that the Internet of Things is already here, and you can look at things where you are able to put that into a real practical business use. So there are already sensors out there that can help you track things like temperature, vibrations, being able to keep track of the number of cycles that something's done. And if you're a distributor that is working in an industry where your customers are using your products that wear, by using the smarter world technologies, you'd be able to get insight into the customer's environment to improve your value to them by being able to proactively know when something is out of range, or being able to offer them a service call, or to be able to ensure that you have a part so that when it's getting towards the end of life, you know that you have the part available to ship to them and prompt them to be able to buy the product from you without the customer even necessarily knowing that they need to do it. It's an extension of your value add and your core competency to give them a reason to buy from you and not just become a commoditized reseller of products. And of course, analytics is important so that we've got all this data that we're able to use the information to help us drive our business goals so that we can do more than just get reports of how we performed in the past, but use the analytics to inform our decisions about what we're going to do going forward. So we can invest properly with our people and make sure the people are going into the right locations, that we're streamlining and gaining organizational efficiencies, that we're using the tools to be able to understand who our customers are driving our profitability, maybe some of the customers that are hurting our profitability, and what we can do to recover those customers or not continue with those customers, and then grow with high opportunity customers. So the digital economy is already happening. You can see there's a potential of 50 billion in incremental revenue, mostly in the US, but you can see also in the UK and Germany, through increased simplification. And this is by making it easier, removing the barriers to doing business with you, and making it simpler for a customer to find you, to know what product they need, whether it's reaching out to a human resource or getting the information as a self-service from your e-commerce system, and ultimately being able to place that order and get fulfillment. You increase that customer experience, you make it simpler to do business, and you can increase your revenue and be part of the 50 billion. Other examples of just being able to use the tools is savings. So there's 168 billion in savings in the trucking industry by using autonomous and semi-autonomous technologies. So by using some of those same kind of tools, we can gain operational efficiencies. A full 41% of wholesalers surveyed indicated that e-commerce is now their top sales channel. That's an increase from 31%, and if you go back a few years, whether it's 5 or 10 years, you would say that most of them barely had e-commerce as an important driver for a wholesaler. But wholesalers are now competing. They're already competing in the e-commerce space, and it's becoming an important and increasing part of the digital economy. There are currently over 75 billion connected devices to the Internet of Things, and so we want to be able to make sure that we are serving environment that's being provided to us, which is to be able to know the demands from our customers, what's trending, what's needed from those devices. We also expect to have over 2.5 billion users on social media by the year 2020. And so you want to make sure that your presence is there. You don't want to be not there, certainly. And when you are there, if you're going to be there, you might as well be proactive and manage your strategy. So there's over $65 trillion in global trade that's currently going through connected businesses. Further, 90% of CEOs believe that the digital economy will have a major impact on their industry. However, only 25% have a plan, and less than 15% are executing on the plan to be able to operate in the digital economy. This actually creates an opportunity for you because you have the ability to not necessarily be on the bleeding edge where you're inventing a trail in your industry. You can look to see what the other distributors and other companies that are similar to your companies have done, even your competitors have done, in implementing digital tools, so you can make sure that you use and have a good plan of tried and true technologies. However, you're still early enough on the bell curve that you'll be able to use this investment to drive growth and to ensure your competitive advantage and to improve your operations, as opposed to just having to catch up because you're the end of the bell curve. And this is reinforced by the fact that over 50% of the fast-growing companies, small and mid-sized companies, are actively engaged in the digital transformation. You also want to look at it and say, okay, a lot of people look at Amazon or something, and they're looking at commodity prices and they're saying, well, this is just a race to the bottom with pricing. And that's not really true. 86% of customers are willing to pay more for a better customer experience. And what that means is that by ensuring that you have the right product for them, the videos, the specifications that you need, a click to chat or a click to call, type connection to reach your salespeople, or at least just a published cell phone, a telephone number for somebody to get to, email addresses. This will give people the confidence that you're able to supply value and the ability to reach you, and in exchange for this, they're willing to pay more to ensure that they have the right products. Not everything is just about the lowest price. And already, the digital economy is 57% of the buying process. So we're already talking about the majority of purchase decisions are made, whether or not they're made by traditional purchasers that are going to go and do a full request for quote in that whole process, or the guy that just has authorization in the warehouse to go buy a supply because something broke that isn't needed, or office supplies for your building. Those people are already doing their research on the internet. So they're going to Google, or they're asking their peers on social media, or they're doing something before they've ever even contacted you to identify who they're going to buy from. They've already tried to use the suppliers' websites or your websites to be able to educate them on what they want. So by the time they've contacted you, you already have a better, more educated buyer. But it also means that if you're not supplying them with the information they need before they contact you, before you get the demand, then you're missing out on the opportunity, and they'll go to somebody who is supplying them that information. Here we'll take a look at some of the kinds of companies that are already embracing the digital economy. And you can see a lot of these are large, but of course there's lots of small businesses as well. We just wanted to use some well-known ones. Let's start with Amazon. They're probably one of the the key examples of a digital economy company. They started off selling books. Of course, now they provide everything from being able to provide your as I mentioned, your cloud services before, to probably competing with you against some of your commodity or products that require low or little value add in terms of installation knowledges, or aren't protected by proprietary territories. So Amazon could be viewed as a threat, but it doesn't have to be a threat. Again, what you can look at with respect to Amazon is you understand that what they're providing is good information to the customer in terms of a user experience, access to the information. You can use that as a model. You can actually sell on Amazon to be part of the omni-channel and be side by side, so that again you're there when people are looking and they find your products. So you can be both a threat and a platform for you. Let's also take a look at, for example, Uber. So Uber, we all had the ability to call a black car service, or to hail a taxi if you were in the appropriate kinds of cities. That wasn't something that was new. What Uber did is they again enhanced that consumer experience by making it easy for a customer to just open up their application and know exactly who's coming, when they're coming. They can track to see that the car is there. It's easy for them to pay. So they took something that was already available and just enhanced that user interface, and of course have grown to be a huge player in the transportation space. It's just an example of how you could take the business that you're already doing just by improving your customer experience, whether it be giving them more information or giving them proactive updates, more than just tracking numbers, but actually following up with them that the order shipped. All those kinds of things. You'll be able to use your digital tools to enhance your experience, drive more customer loyalty, and get more repeat business. Of course, SAP is a digital economy business as well. It provides lots of tools and software, uses it itself, but it also is providing the platform, the ability to natively interact with social media tools to be able to do your in-memory and high-speed analytics. So we'll go more into some of the offerings as we go into the product, but I just wanted to show it as an example. So finally, let's talk about why you must become a digital distributor. As we've alluded to, the buying behavior has changed. So wholesale distributors often think of themselves as business to business, and therefore a lot of you may not have considered the trends that are required for what I've mostly been describing was a B2C, or a business to consumer model. As I said earlier, especially the smaller businesses, but even your younger generation that are working in your larger businesses, your good clients, they now have experienced the B2C for probably decades at this point, personally, for their own shopping. They're on their smartphones, they're doing things at home, and they've come to expect this and wonder why they can't get that from you as a provider of information to them and services to them in their B2B environment. So businesses are becoming a special type of consumer in their own right. Again, it's not necessarily going to represent having to just let them log in and self-serve. It may be about being able to be responsive to inquiries, again, being able to drive your value, your value there by giving technical information, helping them answer questions. You want to be able to make it so that they can do all of that, but more than just, okay, we'll schedule something with you next week and send a salesperson out there. They may want that information at 2 o'clock in the morning. So Just because they're out of work doesn't mean they're not thinking about you. You want to be there. You want to make sure that you have your presence. Again, whether it be through social media or whether it be through your own platforms, to be able to ensure that the customers can get the information that they need to make it easier to do business with you. And if you don't, your competitors are going to. And that's going to ultimately cause people to go to your competitors. You also have some of your manufacturers that are going to be able to start to supply some of your customers' needs in that way. And so you want to leverage your suppliers, not let your suppliers become threats. Leverage their knowledge, leverage their technology to make it so that it comes through you and you become the first source that they go through. Ultimately, this will also give you the ability to remain competitive, because you can use digital tools to make it easier to work with, reduce your own costs. You don't necessarily need to have an order taker if your customer is willing to enter the information online. Now, not all of your customers are going to do that, but the ones that are will appreciate not having to deal with your order taker, and also free up your order taker to deal with the people who still want to order traditionally by a phone or some other model. So again, that's just one example. You can also do the same thing with your suppliers. You can reduce the amount of time that your buyers are working with your suppliers by ensuring that you're getting access to them, whether it be electronically emailing purchase orders or working with an EDI. So all of these things will improve your business decisions, increase organizational efficiencies, help you remain competitive, and really help you with your customer service expectations. And that brings us to the last point of survival. So, you know, you're probably at a point now where you're doing well, but you're missing out on the opportunity to grow if you don't embrace the digital economy. And at some point, when everyone else does, you get into a situation where you may not be able to get the same preferential treatment from your vendors. You're not able to give the information to your customers. And so your actual survival as a leader in your industry could be at jeopardy if you allow other people to gain the competitive advantage over you, as opposed to you embracing the digital economy and the digital tools to become a connected digital distributor now. So there's more information that you can get on this. As I mentioned, there's a great book, Becoming a Digital Distributor, written by Mark Dancer, published by the National Association of Wholesalers. So his book is a great book. There's some other sources as well. The New Digital Economy by Oxford Economics, some stuff from the Aberdeen Group. You can also look at SAP. They have a whole bunch of white papers and other information about digitizing the digital distribution and the new digital economy. So I encourage you to look at some of the sources. So now that I've given you information about the digital economy and why you need to be a digital distributor, let's look at some of the ways that you can do it. So we'll look at the recommended solution. Again, we're going to recommend SAP Business One. Now, SAP Business One is available both on SQL and the new technology called HANA. So the advantage is that if you're already familiar with SQL, if you've got SQL applications, you can continue to gain access to a lot of enhanced tools and functionality by continuing on that platform. Or you can use HANA, which is an in-memory, highly efficient technology platform, to be able to do integration and get access to external data sources, to be able to do real-time analysis and Google-like searches on your business. And we'll take a look at that. So as a result, you have choice that can help meet your business need, also your budget and your timeline. Very strong roadmap going all the way out here through 2021 and, of course, beyond. SAP is one of the leaders in this space. In addition, you'll be able to access the tools that you need to be able to immediately make yourself a digital distributor, such as a customer portal. As you can see, it gives the customers the ability to do self-service. They can see their orders. They can see if their orders have shipped. They can check to see their invoices. They can even pay. So for some of your customers that want access to this information, they'll be able to get access to it both via a traditional website as well as over their mobile devices. It really smooths the interaction with you, and so it gives them, the ability to interact with you, and for you, it increases your productivity on customer service, should result in lower sales outstanding, and also makes it harder for your customers to leave because they appreciate the platform that you're providing for them. If you are in a business where part of your value add is to provide field service, you can also extend your system to make sure that the same way you have access to the inventory, to your customers, to all the information about what's going on, what recently got sold to them, if something new is coming on, as well as your service tickets, so that you can have your technicians be able to work on service orders, to scan barcodes, and as you can see, available on phones, on tablets, and of course on the laptop as well. Once again, giving your technicians real-time mobile access, being able to capture e-signatures to be able to improve your your time that your technicians use, making them more efficient, and the experience that your customers receive so they feel that they want to continue doing business with you, and possibly giving you the opportunity while you're there to look to see if there's other opportunities for you to embrace, whether it be finding another product that they're possibly getting from another supplier and recommending it to them as part of an upsell. So again, by giving your technicians mobile access, it might say, hey, if you're selling them this part, by the way, ask them if there's some other part, and the tools are now available for small and medium-sized businesses to be able to get that information from the database so that you can prompt people to constantly look to improve the customer experience. Of course, there's also strong project management functionality, and so if you are selling something that is not just a simple distribution but part of a larger ongoing project where you're working with people, being able to offer project management out to your customers is a really great way to ensure customer loyalty, because you can help them track their processes throughout the need. So if they're building something and you're going to be supplying over multiple stages and different phases, by helping organize the project on your end so that it aligns with their end, they feel confident, you know what's going on, you can predict better, and it will really help you manage your processes, their processes, and it will, in some cases, help them do business with you so you can drive more business. And then, of course, the dashboards, the forecasting, and the analytics. So you can see some of the forecasting information is available here so that you can try to make sure that you're optimizing. You have stock when your customers need it, but you can also optimize your inventory levels, giving you the ability to ensure that you're not holding and burning up too much cash or using too much warehouse space on product that you don't need, but being able to use different trends and analyses to figure out how much stock you need. Each user gets access to their own KPIs or displays of what's relevant to them. So your salespeople might be looking at sales opportunity pipelines and top customers. Your accounting people can look at what's outstanding and what's on jeopardy of going hold. Your fulfillment people can look to see how they're doing on their fulfillment progress and so on. And for each of these, the KPIs or key performance indicators, they're built into your business flows, but sometimes your executives are going to want insights that you didn't prepare for. So part of being a digital economy company is ensuring that your users are able to get access to it without having to wait for their IT department or an analyst to come back and give it to them, or without having to go get their salespeople to generate a report for them. So you want to ensure that you have tools that are going to allow ad hoc or free-form queries. So for the example here, you can see we've got the Excel where you're able to just go in and predefine business things. So being able to predefine something like a quarter or a month or a customer group or an item group, and you just check off what you want, and the system gives you both a visual representation and a chart to be able to give you what you need. All of these tools will help you drive your system forward. In addition, we're going to take a look here at Resolv, and this is one of the add-ons that Achieve It Solutions provides, but it's just an example of what you can do as you expand, moving from the old to the new. So an example of warehouse management system, again, many or most of you probably already have a warehouse management system, but it probably looks something like this, a traditional scan gun, maybe using a character base, maybe using something a little bit better than a character base, but nonetheless, a small screen display that's designed just for a very specific function. And it was great to be able to scan barcodes and to be able to get somebody from point A to point B when moving material around in your warehouse. However, the new platforms are going to empower their users. So everything is going to be a real-time transaction inside. You'll notice here you can use your different form factors. So if the appropriate use is a small device like a phone or actually a scanner that's updated, you can do that. But in some cases, it might be more efficient for them to be working with a tablet, a laptop, or even a full computer. You're able to still do things like your barcode scanning, but these devices now have the ability to have additional information such as cameras, so you can, for instance, add a picture. So when something comes in damaged from your vendor, you don't need to necessarily remember to go make a note and send an email to somebody and hope that accounting follows up with it. You can actually capture a picture right on your smart device as part of the warehouse management system, use the on-screen keyboards or physical keyboards to be able to enter a comment, have that go with your transaction, and ensure that your processes are organized so that it's less disruptive to the warehouse management user and also available immediately and prominently for the accounting user in the example that I gave. So, this is going to give you the ability to, really use the different functions. And of course, the Resolv suite, as you can see, also gives you the ability to do things like integrate via web services directly out into other carriers such as UPS and FedEx. You can do your communications with customer service. And then the Resolv suite itself, as you can see, we have the ability to help you, and I'll show this, track everything from your customer's order point all the way through to when they pay you, when you need to order something from your vendors to when you pay them, being able to make sure that you use the appropriate tools such as the Gordon Graham or the effective inventory management models to ensure proper stocking, reserving products to make sure your key customers, you're able to meet the obligations to them as a value add, and again, being able to do analytics. So with that, let's switch to a live software demonstration. And I'll show you an example here of how SAP Business One can help a company as a tool for the digital economy. So first, when you first log into SAP Business One, as I mentioned, each user is going to be presented with the ability to have their own dashboard, and it's going to represent the functions that they provide. So if I'm a salesperson, I can take a look at what my best-selling items are, my best customers. I might be interested as a warehouse person in what my inventory turnover is, or accounting person. Here you can see I actually have a good trend where the average days of order fulfillment has been trending down, so I'm getting my products out faster, which is going to make the customers happier. So you can take a look at many of these kinds of KPIs and really use it to be able to drive an intelligent and proactive response as opposed to just reporting on what happened last month and then trying to figure out what you're going to do about it. So this gives you the ability to do, more functions in real time. In addition, another area that you're going to want to be able to do besides just getting these is to be able to do a search. So for example, we're going to come in here and I'm just going to search Apple. And just like I expect out of Google, I'm able to search all of the information in my system, and it's going to find anything that resembles Apple. So here you can see I found something that had Johnny's Appleseed as a vendor. You can see that when I hover over, there's Apple iPhones and iPads. You get the hover over capabilities. And it's able to find Apple in any part of it. So I can go ahead and I can take a look at items. So here you can see manufacturer Apple, Apple iPhones, Entenmann's Apple Pie, Apple Juice. So you really have the ability to now do a free-form search across your entire enterprise and use all the data that you're generating to be able to get information. Of course, part of this is making sure that you're able to, work with your data in a way to be proactive and give the customers you answers that they need immediately. So if I'm taking a look at this invoice, I want to be able to say, okay, yes, customer, here's my invoice, but I want to be able to answer all the information about it. So I can, for instance, take a look at the relationship map, which is showing me the full visibility into the entire order flow. Again, giving me the ability to instantly answer the questions that my customer may have. So I can see any sales quotations that exist all the way through the incoming payment, so I can show them how it was paid and what was applied. Further, if I go into the sales order, you can see that it's not just about using KPIs and that information during the, cockpit stage or being able to do your Google search, but it's also available here right on your sales order. So what this gives me the ability to do is, as I'm taking a sales order or reviewing a sales order as an approver or a salesperson, I can drive KPI information, knowledge about what's happening right in my order process. So if I'm trying to decide if I want to give my customer an extra discount or something, I don't just do it by intuition. I have facts. I can see what their performance has been in terms of sales, what their trend has been, their gross profitability, if there's been high returns. I can drive whatever is a relevant metric for my sales and put it right here at the area that the people are going to be using it as they're processing a transaction. Further, you also get the system to be able to do tools that you may have already seen in your B2C environments. So for example, here you can see other recommendations for this customer. So this customer bought these products, but they might also likely buy these products. So it will show you products that are relevant for this particular customer that you should consider asking them about, so that as you're having a conversation, it can be natural. And you can just say, oh, do you need some of these products? You'll also get the traditional customers who bought this product also buy this other product. I don't have any for this particular unit, but the idea here is that recommendations specific to this customer, recommendations specific to this product, so that you can ensure that they get all of the products they need. Because again, if you're a wholesale distributor and you're selling somebody, let's say you're an automotive parts distributor and you are going to be distributing a lamp, but you don't sell them the appropriate fixture that it goes into to be able to replace the headlight enclosure, they're going to be upset and they're going to have to come and it's going to cause shipping. Whereas if you have the opportunity to use the information to ask them proactively, do you also need this? They may not even know they need it, but you're able to drive the value and be a reason why they're using you, as opposed to just going and finding the cheapest product available on the internet. So in addition to being able to do the searching and looking at the orders, let's take a look at some of the other tools. So we mentioned earlier order to cash. So if we go ahead and take a look at order to cash, you'll see here this is giving me a full view of everything that's happening with my business. So here I'm able to quickly see all of the quotations that I have outstanding. I can look at historical, I can look at both. And if I'm talking to a customer, so if Amazon calls me, I'm able to come in here and quickly switch to Amazon to be able to see everything that Amazon is doing. So here you can see Amazon's open orders. If I want to see the item details, I can quickly see exactly what's on the items. I can move from quotations to orders. I can go and see what's happening currently in my warehouse to be able to give information. So if I want to know if something's shipping or being picked or can be modified, I don't need to put somebody on hold. I can get that information immediately. All the way through looking at information like activities, so I can tell that I have something to do as a task. And probably one of the best things is being able to just answer their questions quickly. So here you can see, okay, I want to see the items that I can ship now. So I'm going to look at my availability. I'm going to filter it down to just items they've bought before. I'm going to go ahead and start taking the order while I'm talking to them. So I can say, yes, I need more of these products, and I can go ahead and just enter what products they need as I'm telling them what their specific price is and how many I have available to ship. And at that point, when I'm done, I'm able to answer the questions, and if they need product, I can go ahead and just simply create the quote. And it brings in everything without any additional typing. So once again, you're able to use this tool just to be able to ensure that you're maximizing the information about your customer. Whether you're doing this as a customer, you could be doing it as a salesperson. So if I just want to see everything that's happening for a particular salesperson, I could come in here and see what's happening with Penny. And we'll go ahead and take a look at both. And so now if I go take a look at Penny's quotations, you can see I'm able to quickly, as Penny, be able to see everything that's going on and be able to follow up on my activities effectively as well. Now, a part of managing your relationships, we talked about being connected, is not just servicing your customers, but also adding value to your vendors. The more that you make yourself valuable to the vendor, the better you'll be in terms of A, avoiding having them become a direct threat, and B, being able to improve things that might help you improve your customers, being able to make your buying patterns better so that you get better pricing, the same way you would recommend into your customers. So you can use information with your customers, so if you notice they're buying every 2 days or 3 days, and you can instead get them to be more proactive and order once a week with a larger order, you might be able to get better pricing. The same information is true when you're working with your suppliers. So if you're able to identify and share with them your forecasts so that they have the appropriate lead times, you might be able to get product faster, which could be a benefit to you. You might be able to get the product cheaper and better volume discounts. You might be able to do lots of different things. But in any case, you're able to use this to be able to get a full insight into what you're working with your supplier, so you make your supplier part of that partner chain. You also want to be able to use the information, as we mentioned, you can take a look at ensuring you have the proper stock. So your system is going to be able to use the information that's automatically generated by entering your transactions. So what I'm going to do here is just look for, again, Apple. And I'm going to pick the Simply Apple Juice, okay? And here you can see what it's automatically doing is it's automatically determining how relevant this part is to my business. So I can go in a movement class starting all the way from 1, which is my best moving, fastest selling items that I need to make sure I always have, to my dead stock that I never sell. It will also help me automatically ensure that I have the appropriate quantities, that I'm able to look at the usage, and I can generate forecasts, again, by being able to do this using different tools. These tools are once again, using formulas that are well tested and proven. These are the Gordon Graham and Effective Inventory Management Model formulas, but it gives me the ability to ensure that I'm maximizing my availability to my customers, adding value to them, have the appropriate safety stock, but simultaneously using the information in my system to reduce the amount that I have invested in inventory so that I can service my customers but not need to overstock, which means I can reduce my warehouse space, I can reduce the amount of inventory that I have cash that I have tied up in inventory, and also make it easier to pick, pack, do all those other kinds of functions. So truly what you're looking for when you're thinking about yourself as a digital distributor is, how can I improve my connections with my customers, with my suppliers? How can I use this information to drive profitability and growth? How can I ensure that my best customers stay loyal to me by ensuring that they have their service and that the product is always available to them like you would through an order reservation? and at the same time identifying customers that can move up and become high profit opportunities, as opposed to just distracting and diluting yourself, servicing your entire customer base equally, or making your salespeople do administrative tasks that are inefficient, being able to really improve that customer's buying experience. So with that, I'm going to switch. That was what we looked at inside of SAP. I also wanted to mention the mobile. Again, this is just an example of mobile. This particular one is our warehouse management system, and we want you to see how being mobile really changes how it works. Of course, you have all of your traditional transactions, so you can see we can do picking, we can do receiving, but as I mentioned earlier, when we go and we do the process, I'm now able to go ahead and not only just receive a purchase order, but if I had remarks, if something came in damaged, I'm able to go ahead and key in those remarks right here. Again, without distracting me from the process, I'm able to improve my data to be able to ensure my processes work and make it easy for my users. If this was a real iPad and not just an emulated one, I'd be able to take the camera and be able to take pictures. They would automatically be attached to your documents. So it's just an example of how that works. Now, in addition to that, you also are going to be able to use the information right at your fingertips. So the same way we did inside of the ERP system, I'm going to come in here and search Apple, and as you can see, I'm able to quickly and easily find all of the products that are in there. This could have been also the same as scanning a barcode. But when I come in, I'm able to get information such as how many do I have, what are the batches or serial numbers. I can go ahead and take a look at item details, warehouse quantities here and elsewhere. And if there were attachments like product sheets or whatever, I'd be able to view those directly from my mobile device. And this is something that makes sure that I pick the right product, that I'm providing the right product, and receiving the right product. So all of these things are available by using a better, smarter mobile platform and giving information to your users. We also talked about the fact that you have different types of users. So you might have your warehouse manager that wants to be able to get insights, so we can take a look at what's happening currently. So I can see, okay, what's my pick status for today? How many have I already completed? How many are released and I'm waiting to be processed? What do I need to ensure? Do I have all of my must ship overnight orders picked? What are my best bins? Do I need to reorganize my warehouse to put product into bins that are closer to my shipping area as opposed to sending somebody to the back of the warehouse? They can use this tool to be able to give them insight throughout the day and to be able to track performance. In addition, they can also use reports like the employee performance report to be able to see in real time what each of their users are doing and make sure that they're getting the most efficiency out of the users. So here you can see, it might be a little small, but you can see how many lines have been picked today, month to date, year to date, and I can see it by documents, so I know how many sales orders they touched, but a sales order might have a large number of lines, so I can also see it by lines, but I also may have something that has a small amount of lines but a large amount of quantity, so I can see it by quantity. So by getting all this information, I can see picked, received, transfers, totals. It gives me a good view of the performance of each of my employees, and I can stay on top of that without necessarily having to go back to my desk and run reports. I can do it real time. And while I'm in that environment. So with that, I'm just going to go ahead and come back to the PowerPoint. I just want to close once again with information about us. Once again, we're an SAP Business One Gold level partner. We're one of the most experienced partners, and we have this. The reason I bring it up again is we have experience in wholesale distribution, and we want to be able to give you the information. So if you are interested in Business One, that's great. But if you just need some information about maybe some of your existing tools or how you're going to enable a digital platform, or you're not quite sure yet and you have some questions, please feel free to contact us, and we're happy to help. We have a depth of experience, and we'll make sure that we give you the right information. So with that, I encourage you to contact me. Here you can see my phone number, my email address. Of course, visit our website, and we also have a plethora of videos up on YouTube, so please feel free to visit us on YouTube, where you can get more information like this webinar, as well as information specific to SAP Business One, Achieve Its Solutions, and Resolv. Thank you again for attending. We greatly appreciate your time. I hope you enjoy the webinar, and we hope to speak with you soon.